They're usually here on time. See, you've never been here when they get here. They always get here at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I got here when they didn't too.
That was probably a rare exception. They normally were here. The reason why is because they all took a van over, and the school would always have them here early. But yeah, it was that one day that I think nobody was here. That was a snow day, right? Where you showed up like an hour or hour and a half early. Yeah. Well, this is Introduction to Computer Forensics. I don't know what Blackboard's going to look like for you. I've been told that they added in the orientation. So I don't know if you're already a current user of Blackboard, if it forces you to complete the orientation. But if it does, then you'll have to do that before you can see your classes. Both of you have been into Blackboard, so I won't go over that part. Of course, the start here is where the syllabus is. So we'll go over that first. There's my phone number. I think my voicemail is working now, so if you call and actually leave me a voicemail, I think I'll know it. Because I haven't found a voicemail left where I didn't have the little light flashing in quite a while. So whatever issue they're having, they corrected. Email, all messaging through Blackboard messaging. Probably won't contact you through your regular email, so I'll probably send it to the wrong one. Send it to your Yahoo when you're checking the Cali, or I'll send it to your Cali when you're checking your Yahoo. I thought I was set on that one. I thought, well, I'm on the ball on this one. Between semesters, I know he won't be checking his Cali. So anyway, any messaging again will go through Blackboard, and of course, Cali administration will go to your Cali college email. We were talking about that between semesters. We weren't even sure if anybody actually even reads their Cali email. Do you? Really? On a regular basis?
Like once a like every time I open my computer.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is first thing I see the notifications on.
That's excellent. Used to be people didn't check their Cali email. Haven't come up with office hours yet, but I'll have those soon. Probably the best time if you have any questions, I'm in my office right after class. Of course, if you're in high school, that doesn't help you a whole lot. This course is designed to introduce students to computer forensics. Students will learn how to use various computer forensic software to analyze digital evidence and search for hidden data. Various computer fundamentals will be covered. Some of the more expensive ones we won't use. There's some pretty, like I'm guessing that that university has some of the top of the line software for that, and it's pricey. We'll go with more of the inexpensive ones, like free ones.
They didn't tell us for free. All we need is computer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got money for the software, so. Let's see. Upon completion of this course, A student will be able to use various computer forensic software to analyze information on a computer system. A student will understand how information is stored on a hard drive and in system files. Let's see, expectations. Student is either expected to either attend the class in person or virtually. If this is not possible, then as expected, the student will listen to all of the YouTube lecture. And important information will be given in the video, same as in the classroom. If you do not watch the lecture, then you'll miss important class announcements. So like when I make a class announcements where I say we're having a test next time, I won't actually put it in a separate announcement in Blackboard. I'll say it in a YouTube video. And so if you're gone, you need to watch that YouTube video.
So we just shift it in.
Yeah, or beginning, or whatever I might say it. Let's see.
School bus hit a deer through the lake.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
you miss a lot, or
no, just started syllabus. So,
do you have a schedule for me? Because I never got one.
I don't think I have one for you, but I could tell you shortly after what classes you're in. Officially not in this one, but you're welcome to sit in this one. Though if you decide you want to be in this one, I told them I didn't care which classes you're in. I told them the two I thought you'd probably find most interesting and probably do the best in. But the textbook is a guide to computer forensics investigations, 6th edition, Bill Nelson. This is delivered via Cengage Unlimited / Red Shelf, but they haven't got it set up yet. Red Shelf is set up, but they haven't added the book into the Cengage Unlimited yet. So I'm hopeful on that for today. I got the Red Shelf added in over this weekend, but I didn't see the Cengage added in.
So we won't have to go pick up a book, or just go online.
It'll be online. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're in the classroom here, so you'll have access to laptop when we get to the labs and so forth. If you're doing it at home, you have to be able to install software. It should be a Windows computer, Windows 7 or greater. Should be fine. Course grade breakdown: labs 45%, quizzes, tests 45%, essays 10%. I will put hard and fast due dates on these this time. I think that's was a mistake last semester not to have those. I think that people got behind, kept getting further behind, and so forth.
Computer science class.
What?
That's computer science class.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them. Yeah. Tutoring, none. But you come to me for help. If you go to the tutors down there at college, I doubt if any of them know anything about computer science. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's sit and read all this to you. Here's a semester schedule breakdown. Yeah, that's all for the syllabus. Now under course content here, there's a Zoom link. So if you're signing in from home, this is where you go click to watch that. If it's a snow, your van hits a deer, end up in a ditch, whatever it might be, then if you can't get to class, you can just sign on from the library or from your computer at home, depending upon where you're stuck at. There'll be individual weeks that will appear here as time goes on. So, is there any questions on what's in Blackboard?
Will all of our assignments be computerized, or
What do you mean by computerized?
like on computer, or will any of them be physical?
Um. Oh, virtual or
Yeah.
oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I wasn't being clear enough.
No. Some of them be actually using the real hardware.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I bought a server over Christmas. I just need to bring it now and get it hooked up. It's not the fastest one.
Yeah.
It's like $100. And they claim I was shocked by this. I wouldn't have bought the $100 server, but they said they have a server that they bought down at the main campus, and they just need to get over and set it up. They said it won't be hooked into the where you guys can get access to it there. It'll be kind of like standalone. We'll run our own wiring and so forth. But yeah, we'll have those. So. And part of it'll be these really exciting PowerPoints, and then part of it will be the labs, which will be a lot more exciting. Um, Guide to Computer Forensics Investigations. What's forensics mean? What?
Art aspect of it?
Yeah, that's part of it. Trying to investigate what's potentially went wrong. In terms of a corporate issue, that's different than a legal issue. So this talks about some of the different situations there. Um, do they have to get a warrant to look at your email at a college? No. Just from the nature of the agreements you've made, they can look whatever. At a company, do they need a warrant? No. And they make it very clear, like on our union stuff. They said don't conduct union business via your Cali email. Um, so they said they can look at it. They have free reign to do whatever they want. Most companies do. That's part of even if you don't sign something explicitly giving away your rights, that's assumed. Um, how about at home? Can federal agencies look at your email?
No, that's your isn't
Not your personal email, your work email.
I don't know anymore, to be honest. Um, Used to be they could just read your emails if they wanted.
I don't think so, because if it's in the home, they have to want to in the home in the first place, unless you okay it.
Was it called the Patriot Act?
You might look into this. Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. I just look for key terms. The NSA.
Patriot Act violates the Constitution in several ways. It violates the Fourth Amendment, which says the government can conduct a search without obtaining a warrant. But part of it is expired, and part of it they've redone. But it used to be, yeah, they under the Patriot Act, they could, if they felt that there was an issue, they didn't need to go before a judge or anything. They could just monitor your. Yeah, ACLU wasn't very happy with them. Expand the government's authority to spy on its own citizens. Many senators complained they had little chance to read it, much less analyze it, so they just voted. That's funny.
government fucking progress.
Let's see. Patriot Act increases the government's surveillance powers in 4 areas: record searches, secret searches, private property, intelligence searches, trap and trace. Yeah, I haven't followed this recently, but yeah, what can they do legally? These are our objectives. We're going to look at what is the field of digital forensics, explain how to prepare computer investigations, summarize the difference between public sector and private sector investigations. That's what we just talked about. Different rules apply. Explain the importance of maintaining professional conduct. Describe how to prepare a digital forensics investigation by taking a systematic approach. Describe procedures for private sector digital investigations. Explain requirements for data recovery workstation software. Summarize how to conduct an investigation, including critiquing a case. How about if I arrest you, come to your house, and your computer's on, so I shut it down. Is that good?
Are you only shutting it down?
I'm only shutting it down.
I don't know. I don't think that is. It's like important information is open.
Could
You
be.
see when you come there.
Yeah. When I shut down the computer, it saves files.
Yeah.
Makes changes. So when you have to go to court, and it shows all these files have been changed by the official.
Yeah.
You know, the person arrests you, whether that's FBI or NSA or whatever. That indicates they changed evidence, right? So yeah, proper way is to unplug it. You don't shut it down normally, because then it shows files have been changed. And if you have altered evidence, sometimes that gets something thrown out of court, right? So it's like, well, what did you do exactly? Well, I just shut it down. It's like, well, did you do anything else? Altered my files. Yeah. So you shut it down ungracefully. You unplug it, take it back. You make a copy of the hard drive. You never touch the original, and then you examine that copy. Now, digital forensics. The application of computer science investigative procedures for a legal purpose involve an analysis of digital evidence after proper search authority, chain of custody, validation with mathematics, use of validated tools, repeatability, reporting, and possible expert presentation. October 2012, an ISO standard for digital forensics was ratified, ISO 27037, Information Technology Security Techniques. Chain of custody. They come and arrest you. Well, they have to seal the evidence, right? Obviously, they don't probably have a bag big enough for a computer, but
you never know. They always tend to have something that will usually work.
Do they? Oh, that's interesting.
Like just a laptop, they got that big enough, but
Yeah, laptop would definitely, but I suppose they probably would bring something just to cover themselves.
bring a big old duffel bag.
Yeah. You put a computer in the back of your car and you drive around all day, and then you finally take it to evidence. It's just like, well, it was sitting in the back of your car. Did somebody do something, change it, so forth? Can you change files on your computer without affecting the date?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make it say whatever date I want. Right? So yeah, people who are clever at that stuff can do it. So even if the dates haven't changed, your chain of custody is important. Now, for a corporation, that doesn't matter, unless you plan to bring a legal case against them. They don't bag them up. They don't do all that. Federal Rules of Evidence, FRE, was created to ensure consistency in federal proceedings. Signed into law in 1973, and many states rules map to the FRE. FBI Computer Analysis and Response Team, CART, was formed in 1984 to handle cases involving digital evidence. And by late 1990s, CART teamed up with the Department of Defense Forensics Laboratory, DCFL. And we've already kind of alluded to this. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects everyone's rights to be secure from search and seizure. Separate search warrants might not be necessary for digital evidence. Every U.S. jurisdiction has case law related to the admissibility of evidence recovered from computers and other digital devices. It gets tricky on this. We talked about the Patriot Act. How about if I go on to a site where pedophilias go out and do whatever they do, and I pretend to be a little girl.
Jesus. What?
Now,
No, I don't have a Tumblr.
what is that legal?
Wait, is it?
Child pornography
They do
is
it.
illegal.
No, I mean going out and pretending you're a 6-year-old.
Yes, it's
Or
Pushing someone else or not.
no, I mean law enforcement.
No, since you're doing it, got it the law.
Yeah, they do that. They go out there and they trap people.
Oh, Chris Hansen.
But how far do you go on that? Entrapment is a big thing in some areas where they go too far, and so I don't know the answer to that question myself. But, never.
That's what they, have you seen Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen?
No.
That's what Chris Hansen does. Is he makes like fake profiles as young kids and lures predators to the house and then he arrests them.
Oh, that's
You've never
interesting.
seen that show?
Never seen that show.
That's the whole concept of Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
We should watch it for class education.
That is interesting. But yeah, in the normal, I can't come up to you and say the wrong things in terms of getting you to do something illegal, can I? It's almost like you got to let the person initiate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There was a guy arrested in Ark City for child pornography.
Isn't he a teacher?
Maybe 2. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard about that one.
York City.
Oh, you mean at the high school?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, he got arrested.
I was talking to one of the students about that. I'm like, I just go, that's York City for you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, this was an actual college student, and they came in and they arrested him and did the whole, bagged up all the computer stuff and took it away and came back to school. Don't know if he was guilty or not. What do people assume though? He was, right? Yeah. So there's issues that. Was he going to someplace inappropriate pornography-wise? Was he actually preying on a child online or a FBI agent or whoever pretending to be the child? Don't know. But that's probably the closest I've seen to an investigation. That's where he was arrested. Dropped the case, so I don't know. Does that mean he's innocent if they drop the case? No. Just means maybe they didn't follow these tips, right? Just got to follow law. So you got to collect investigating digital devices includes collecting data securely and legally. Examining suspect data to determine details such as origin and content. Presenting digital information to courts, applying laws to digital device practices. Have you ever looked at if you've collected a lot of files on your hard drive, you ever looked at how many's out there?
Like how many bytes?
Don't, just the individual count of files. I used to do web design, and I'd keep track of all, or not keep track, but save all the files that I could use, like images and so forth, and tons of files. Finally, I got to the point I didn't want to keep that anymore, so I bought access to some. They got image databases out there. You pay them a certain amount, and you can legally use them on your web design. So I finally went to that, so I don't keep any files because it was just a nightmare. Well, imagine if you had 20,000 files. How long would it take you to go through 20,000 and sort them, categorize them, print them? Yeah, because if you're going to a court case, maybe you need a printed copy, right? I never have served on a jury. Has anybody served on a jury?
I was with my mom when she did it.
How were you?
Yeah.
But don't you have to go to jury meeting unless like certain things are met that negate that?
Yeah.
It's been like, see, I always from my education, I said, well, I really can't miss a week of school because I have nobody to fill in for me, and so then they always get me out of it.
Yeah, it's excusable that he's a single parent.
Oh,
I'm not sure if that shows that you love me or that you're a user.
Yeah, my mom got out of it.
Yeah.
The first time they had to postpone the parent pregnancy.
I'm not sure if they actually will give you a laptop to pass around in these cases. I doubt it. Probably have to have printed photos, don't you? So, how many of them do you print? You got a pedophile that's collected 10,000 images. Do you have 10,000 pages? I think we get the idea. You don't need to show us any more.
Now there's only 8,000 left to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you present digital information to courts? Obviously, they don't want to look at all those images. Might even really delay the court case. Applying laws to digital device practices. Digital forensics is different from data recovery, which involves retrieving information that's deleted by mistake or lost during a power surge or server crash. We'll talk about this. Some of you have heard it in another class. How's a file stored on your computer? Using what? Bytes of data? And it's kind of spread throughout, right?
Yeah.
So you have one file. It may be in many spots on your computer. How about if it's transferred over the internet? It's broke into kind of packets, which contain your. But packets are sent, individually. If you broke into my house, or somebody's banging on the door, maybe I'm deleting files, and so you have to delete the files to see what you can recover, or it's to delete the files so people can't see it, and then law enforcement has to then see what they can recover. So, is it all right to grab pieces of information for a court case? Half an image? Yeah.
It can be used for,
Right. For data recovery, they never give you half of a file. They'll say, John, here's half your document we're able to recover. And that'll do that. So again, it's different. Use some of the same tools, but your goal is different. Forensics investigators often work as a team, known as the investigations triad. That depends on how big of your area is. You got your vulnerability, threat assessment, risk management, network intrusion detection, incident response, and digital investigations. May not just be inappropriate images. It may be somebody trying to steal secrets of the government. So this goes hand in hand with maintaining your server, making sure somebody can't break in. And if they do break in, you investigate it. So. Now, vulnerability threat assessment and risk management tests and verifies integrity of standalone workstations and network servers. The intrusion detection looks for the attacks. So you got automated tools and monitoring network firewall logs. How about if you had one person just looking at every site people went to? Would that work? Be difficult, wouldn't it? How many websites you go to a day? What? 50?
Maybe one a day if I'm lucky.
One a day.
My average is
20? Okay.
I'll be along.
Let's say 20 sites. Now you go to 20 sites, you go to individual pages within those sites. Okay, so let's take it up to 100 then. 100 pages a day. Let's say that's an average people. Times, let's say we got 200 employees. We're up to 20,000 pages that have to be analyzed. Obviously, if the URL was such that you could tell it's an inappropriate site, you could definitely spot it. But that's a lot, isn't it? How are logs stored for web pages? Anybody know? There's not just for the URL, but for each image that's on the page, there'll be a separate line. Because it's coming across as its own packet, isn't it? The images and all that. So they're separate. So all of a sudden, you got your 20,000 pages. What's how many average images and separate entities do you think is on each page? At least 10? Let's say 10. We're now up to 200,000 entries in your log file. Now at IFR, we took turns doing this, but we would be, and we didn't have a good tool for this, so you would laugh at this, but we'd bring up the logs, and logs were huge. There was no way you could go through and look line by line. So we'd search for bad words. Do a find on, the F word or the, whatever, S word or so forth, and see if we'd find it. And if we found it, then we'd look at that person a little bit closer, see what they were going to, then go talk to their manager. They'd ignore us, and we'll continue the process next week. Never did fire an engineer over those. But that was our forensics we did. Now we eventually bought a package called I think it's Web Trends. Just because that was stupid what we were doing. It wasn't a good use of resources. Web Trends has changed quite a bit. It's evolved.
Oh, I have used Web.
Have you used Web Trends? So I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what all they do anymore. More than a gut feeling. I'm guessing analytics is where they moved it to, assuming they still do it. That was 15 years ago. Things change in 15 years. Used to measure user behavior. Yeah, they've evolved. But it used to be they had a tool that allowed you to see what people were doing. Yeah. Now whether they still do that or not, I don't know. It's hard to tell from their site. But again, all ways to detect something's going haywire. And then digital investigations manages investigations and conducts forensics analysis of systems suspected of containing evidence. Somebody hacks in, what could they potentially leave on your server if you got Linux? A what? A backdoor? That's one thing you look for. So they want to easily get back in. What else? Rootkit.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's root?
The main directory, something has like a file store. You get the root file or something. That's the beginning.
Yeah. It's kind of like super user.
Yeah.
So if you can get in as a root, you can do anything you want. You can install files. You can go anywhere. And so they want to get that super user access.
Like administrator?
Like an administrator.
Okay.
And that's what they can drop a rootkit on there, then that helps them get that advantage. So yeah, they have programs sit there and look for those. It's like, why is there a rootkit on there? History of it, 1990s. International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists introduced training on software for digital forensics. IRS created search warrant programs. ASR Data created expert witness for Macintosh. iLook is currently maintained by the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. And Access Data Forensics Toolkit is a popular commercial product. This is what I was talking about. Some of these are expensive. I think Access Data still has a free version that we'll take a look at, but their big one costs money. Existing laws can't keep up with the rate of the change that goes in technology. A lot of the laws were written. Zoom meeting ended, but everybody's here, so. Says when statutes don't exist, case law is used. Allows legal counsel to apply similar cases to the current one in an effort to address the ambiguity in the laws. What's a big one now? Technology.
What?
In terms of what's changed the last 5 years.
Processing power?
Processing power of your smartphones?
Like hardware, like PCs, for instance. i9-9900K.
Yeah.
Ridiculous amount of work as well.
Those are becoming more powerful. And your phone is become a little mini computer, hasn't it?
Yeah.
More and more programs are being written for it. Your phone can access Wi-Fi everywhere, right? So what happens when your person who's breaking the law goes down to McDonald's, uses their Wi-Fi? How's the case law apply to that? Ponca City was going to have free citywide Wi-Fi. I think somebody said they actually did it.
They did.
Yeah. They still have it?
That's shut that down.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's
And a search price.
It wasn't that good when I looked there.
yeah, it opens up a lot of legal issues.
Yeah.
And because if you want to do something really illegal, go down to Ponca City. You do something illegal at McDonald's. Well, what do they have watching you?
Camera.
Cameras, yeah.
And also the agreement you sign when you drink there or not.
Right. So there's a little bit of oversight. Ponca City, they got cameras in every street. They potentially don't know, who's done what at some point. Um, Examiners must be familiar with the recent court rulings on search and seizure in electronic environment. They talk about developing digital forensics resources, supplement your knowledge, develop and maintain contact with computing network investigative professionals, join computer user groups in both public and private sectors. Example, Computer Technology Investigators Network meets to discuss problems with digital forensics examiners encounter. Consult outside experts. You got two different areas. You got your public and your private. Public is your government. And then your private, of course, is companies. Private's a lot easier. You just got company policies they violate. Used to be big on for students that they would have you agree when you go to some colleges. When you first sign on to whatever computer's on the network, it would pop up a little agreement where you agree that you're not going to surf porn, you're not going to do anything illegal, you're not going to hack an FBI, and so forth. That's kind of gone away. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's explicit. I don't know. Just being a student. For government agencies, talks about Article 8 and Charter Rights of Canada. For Canada. U.S. Fourth Amendment search and seizure rules. I never have tried this because I never want to be in the FBI's list, have them investigate me. But they used to claim if you get on the phone and you'd say certain keywords like White House and bomb and jihad and so forth, that you'd be getting a visit from the FBI.
I use those keywords all the time, and I've never got one.
You never got a visit? Yeah. So, no, I don't know if that's still true or not, but that means that they're monitoring your communications without warrant, right? I don't know if you went on Facebook and said the same thing, if it had the same issues. It'd be interesting to know how far that Patriot Act is still extended. I wonder if we could see it. What parts of the Patriot Act are still in effect? 2008. Sneak and peek warrants. Allowed the law enforcement to break and enter a premise without owner's consent and search premises. Roving wiretaps are implemented. Are you in favor of the Patriot Act?
More or less.
More or
I
less.
mean, they've proven that it has stopped some terrorist attacks in like the past. But I still think it's kind of an invasion of privacy. I mean, I get that they're using key terms that would affect the government as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still sifting through your data, seeing if you're trying to be a threat. And I still see it as they're still looking at your data.
Yeah.
I'm in between. You're being listened, like with nowadays, just being listened whatsoever. Like Alexa always listens. You can turn that off, but Amazon still stores the data, even though they don't use it. They're
Mm-hmm.
still storing all of the data whenever it does listen. So it's very weird.
You can actually penetrate touch on Alexa, and then you can have it add skill on there to like where it listens all the time and records.
Yeah.
It sends it back to a third party that's not Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. See, like that type of stuff too. And it's always like it's listening anyhow. It has to listen to you say, "Hey Alexa."
Yeah.
So I mean, the microphone always has to be on for it to do that. And there was wasn't it in this class or whenever where that this random dude in the UK was he asked for his information. He sent Amazon information because you can receive the packet. Amazon lets you do it.
Uh-huh.
What it listens to, it like I said, they store all of that data, and you can request that data. And Amazon sent them the wrong guy's info,
Uh-huh.
and that dude never knew. He contacted the guy that he got the information for, and that guy never knew that he was being listened to.
Yeah.
And he had the microphone thing turned off on his Alexa.
I think they say that Google Chrome listens to you also.
Chrome does listen to you, yeah.
So if Google can collect data on whatever you listen to, what's wrong with the government doing it?
That's true.
You know, why should a private organization have free reign to monitor everything about you, and the government who's trying to protect you not? Those are tricky issues. You know, because one goes against the Constitution, the other one is a big marketing ploy and so forth. Let's see. Public sector investigations involve government agencies responsible for criminal investigations and prosecution. Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution restrict government search and seizure. So again, that's a big question mark whether you can do that or not. DOJ updates information computer search and seizure regularly, and private investigations focus more on policy violations. Private sector is mainly they just want to see if they want to fire you. Not always though. We had a guy at IFR that was preying on teenage girls online at work, and we notified the law pretty quick about him. There was no, well, we just need to fire him. He was arrested. So it kind of blends over, you know, as you're trying to look for somebody doing something inappropriate in your workplace. If you see something that's being violated law-wise, then you have to turn them over.
Are you required to?
Yeah. Well, we were required by our policy at IFR is that if they know somebody's breaking law, then you're supposed to. But was it a federal thing that made us do it? I don't know. That's a good question. The idea is if somebody somebody goes off and damages young girl in some way, who's liable if we knew they were doing it?
That's true.
The company is. And that's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. You knew your employee was preying on young girls, and you didn't do anything about it. Yeah. But again, I don't know if there's a policy that says we contact the law or not. I wasn't involved in that particular one. That's when it had grown beyond searching for bad words in a big file. Yeah, they can if they want to. They can, and that's what they did on his. They turned it on such they could see every word he was typing on the screen. So it was easy to give that to the law enforcement.
Yeah. So they asked him at work or at home?
I think it was at work. So I'm sure they probably at the same time had a search at his home.
That's true.
So, but people don't realize anything you do on the internet, they can see it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an email you're sending. It can be a little chat you're doing. They want to, they can see all that. It's a good policy for home and work. You just assume that everybody can see everything. I don't know if you followed that. And I've been following it just because I'm fascinated by it. So I'd like to know what's happened. That gal that got kidnapped up in was it Michigan, Minnesota?
Oh, yeah, the college student.
No, she's like a 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Her parents were killed, and the guy kidnapped her. Does anybody know where that was at?
I never heard of that.
Oh, you didn't hear that? The guy that kidnapped her worked with her parents for a period of time, I think, at some kind of processing plant, and but didn't have any exposure to the family or anything. And he killed her parents and kidnapped her, and fortunately, they don't go into detail of what happened and so forth. But she escaped. So if he didn't have any kind of exposure to her at all, and really didn't have any kind of interaction, how did this guy become obsessed with her? Online through Facebook, right? So do you want your police and so forth to have free access to Facebook? Well, I don't know. It's kind of eerie to think about. If she had not been posting stuff, and I'm just assuming, because I'm thinking, how else can you have interaction if you've never, been in a social gathering, never went to school with a person, never, so forth. There's only one way I can think of through social media. If she had her account settings set up to private, to where somebody who wasn't her friend couldn't see anything, would her two parents be alive now? Would she not be screwed up from whatever happened?
Yeah.
So. I think social media actually works with government pretty good when those cases happen. I think they freely open the doors to some, except for Apple. So something with Apple recently, about a year ago, they wouldn't give the algorithm to unlock the phone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Some of them you can't get into now.
Oh, really?
Police has a hard time getting into it. So you have a device, you just plug it in, and it breaks the passcode.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do it.
See, from a legal standpoint, I'd want that if my child was abducted. I'd want them to be able to do anything they could. So it's a little disappointing about Apple in that regard. When conducting public sector investigations, you must understand laws, standard legal processes, guidelines on search and seizure, how to build a criminal case. Again, if you don't understand any of this, like here in Wellington, do they probably have a whole lot of pedophilia cases? Probably not. Might have a few hacking cases. but probably the police never really got involved with those, if I had to guess. So they probably wouldn't know exactly what to do. And again, poor processes can have the case thrown out. I think Wichita's actually got a division, not a, might be larger now, but when I talked to them before, I think they had three people that investigate cyber crimes. Um, people preying on young children and so forth in the Wichita area and all that stuff. That was 10 years ago when I talked to them. So that was interesting, them describing, all the things they have to take into account. So 10 years time, that's probably what, doubled at least. It's probably six or nine people up there investigating them now.
So Windows XP.
The what?
So that they're using Windows XP at the time.
It could have been. Was that the popular operating system then?
Oh, in 2008, might have been Windows Vista, Windows 7.
I can't remember. Yeah, the other place I talked to is the Air Force. Back then, had a quite a investigative unit in McConnell. So, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act was passed in 1986. Specific state laws were generally developed later. Criminal case finds with somebody finding evidence. Kind of makes sense, right? Witness or victim makes an allegation to the police. Could be that I don't know how we. I think we just he was going to a website, probably was inappropriate, but found that person preying to young children on the internet. Plus, you have to kind of wonder why somebody's going to chat rooms during the day at work. So, chat rooms even popular anymore? You gotta realize this fifth.
They've kind of evolved in a different way. Like I know of VR chat rooms, and I've used those quite a bit. But like, just you log into where it's just a stranger, you and a stranger. That was kind of
Yeah. I haven't seen that. Like I say, that was. Now that I think about it, I've been teaching for 15 years. That's probably about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it being a big deal.
Right.
Are all of the Cali internet things down? Like, for me, it says no internet every single one I log in. I get on there and it tells me that it's not connecting to the DNS.
Could be down. I don't know.
He said it's connected to it. It's just not working for me.
Yeah. Police interview the complainant, writes a report about the crime. Report is processed. Management decides to start an investigation, log information to police blotter. Blotter is a historical database of previous crimes. Digital evidence first responder, DEFR, arrives on instant scene, assesses the situation, takes precautions to acquire and preserve evidence. That's the person that arrives there, unplugs the computer. There was a movie one time where if you went through the doorway or something, they had it set up so it started erasing the hard drives. So I forget what movie that was.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
No, all you do is just turn around, throw it, open your computer, throw it in there, and shut off it. That'll erase everything.
Well, this person had tons of servers.
And then there's like Russian throwing everything in the microwave.
Oh, was he? Yeah. I can't remember what movie that was.
I can't either.
Oh, if it's your phone, that's where you throw them. If it's like if you're trying to avoid the cops and you don't want evidence, throw your phone in the microwave and maybe all your devices. This Just throw this water on this. Or a magnet.
I remember that clip that like the FBI was trying to break in as he was like everything was shutting down. It tripped it.
Yeah, and then it leaves the magnets to destroy all
Yeah,
the evidence. Yeah, that was a. I can't.
That.
Like, they had, like, my friend in IT, they had someone try to call in as the, oh, I'm here to fix your servers. And so they'll help them get access. And so the guy's like, oh, they turn around and start they managed to reformat his servers.
Oh. Yeah, so a responder may be such that you don't want to break in while the person's there, right? Like you say, if I'm doing something really illegal, I might have a quick way to destroy the evidence. Like say a huge magnet or something. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be formatting your hard drive while they're breaking in. That takes too long. Your digital evidence specialist, DES, has. By the way, knowing that, does that affect how the responder should even begin? When should you break into the house?
While they're like at work.
While they're at work, yeah. Not while they're sitting on their computer. You know, if they're doing something really illegal, they probably know how to destroy it quickly. So
Even if it's like USB killers, like in your system that corrupts your data,
yeah,
or it's unrecoverable, and that only takes like 2 seconds.
Yeah, so that's and that, if you don't realize that those tools are available and those so forth, then you may think, well, I'll just arrest them like normal, banging on door of police. It's like,
Yeah.
then they're suing the police office, off the police department because they ruined their computer. I don't know, it was fine before you guys seized it. Getting a new computer out of the process. Your digital evidence specialist has a skill to analyze data and determine when another specialist should be called in to assist. This is a person who takes that hard drive, makes a copy of it, and starts searching through it. And then affidavit, sworn statement of support facts about the evidence of crime, must include exhibits that support the allegation. Doesn't have to have every exhibit. Obviously, like we said, you don't want 10,000 pictures printed. Now, private sector investigations, these involve just individual private companies and potentially lawyers who address policy violations and litigation disputes. Example, wrongful termination. Do you fire somebody if you don't have a policy on it? You know, did IFR, we had that one person that was sitting there playing games 6 out of the 8 hours a day. We thought he should be fired. But his manager said, well, he's so productive the 2 hours he's here, he does more than an average person, you know, in 2 or 3 days. And it's like, okay. They were happy the 2 hours they're getting out of him. It's but even then, you know, do they have a policy that says you can't sit here and play games all day long? If they don't, can they fire you? No. Now they can find another reason to terminate your existence, your work employment. We had a guy at Coke. I remember him. He sat there and played games all day long. They finally got rid of him. But again, if you don't have a policy that says you can't do that, then they can't get rid of you. I don't think I've ever seen a policy here at Cali. I'm not even sure if I even seen a computer policy. Let's see.
They have Steam and Origin online for like block.
Do they?
Yeah.
Let's see. Computer policy. Where's search at? Computer use policy.
While you're finding that, have you seen iSense's new ULED XD thing that they announced at CES?
No, I don't think I have.
So they're trying to bring back like LCD,
Mm-hmm.
and compete with the new OLED TVs. So what they did is they took like a regular 4K LCD and a 1080p, but just grayscale,
Uh-huh.
and they're like put together. I don't know how they use their own like custom silicon to make this screen, and it is like super cheap but OLED quality because it's displaying like darker, like deeper blacks of like different nits and stuff like that. I can't remember all the specs of it, but it's just ridiculous.
Interesting.
It uses two like VA panels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like gaming oriented. Like I don't think it's meant to be for gaming, but it's definitely neat. Really, really deep black.
Now here I'm not supposed to load or install software on any computer on network without approval by the computer center staff. Can you install? I'm locked down on my computer in my office. But is there some computer software you can install where you don't need admin rights?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I've installed some of that software. So what have I just done? Violated the policy, right? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was like Python or R programming. One of those you can install without admin rights. Attaching or installing any equipment not owned by the
Oh, that's for the
employees. Attaching or installing any equipment not owned by the college or any computer without approval. Now, is this a good statement right here for a policy?
Make it where you can't make like a backup of all the software.
I bought a little drive and attached it via USB to copy software. Like when I install the software here. Did I just violate the policy with that? Attaching any equipment not owned by the college. How about if I plug in a webcam?
That's not. Yeah, I mean technically you are.
Technically, I've violated the policy, haven't I? So here we've already got two items that really don't make any sense in terms of policy, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Modifying or moving any technology, equipment, or software with prior authorization. Modifying software. So if I change just personal settings on it, I go to the file and settings. Am I modifying?
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. I don't think they actually mean that. But they could be interpreted that way, right? Performing any act that will interfere with the normal operations of the computer's technology. This includes connecting any authorized equipment to the computer network. Performing any act that will interfere with the normal operations of the computer's technology. I watched, not last week, but while everybody was gone on break, I watched Netflix in my office while I was working. I think I was watching The Shining. Did I violate that policy?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, because it consumed bandwidth, didn't it? Did that slow down somebody else?
Probably not, if they're not paying any students at the college.
Don't know. Yeah. So that's now here's a real vague one. Excessive personal use.
Define excessive.
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
If it overburdens a network, results in substantial use of system capacity, or otherwise subjects the institution to increased costs or risks. Results in substantial use of system capacity. I've ran things on my computer that brought my computer down to its knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that? Excessive personal use overburdens the network. I suppose that's if I'm sitting there watching Netflix all day long. But even then, I don't think it uses that much bandwidth. Unauthorized personal use, information technology resources, including email and the web, should not be used for personal commercial gain. Can't run my own business from Cali's resources. For charitable solicitations, unless they're authorized by the appropriate college administrator. So can't run charity. Personal political activities, such as campaigning for candidates for public office, lobbying of public officials. And that's one of the things they really emphasize is our union business shouldn't be ran via Cali's. But they tell us to use our own personal email. Would that violate this policy? How am I getting to my own personal email? Using their hardware, their resources, right?
Okay, yeah.
And the web.
But you can get you can be. You're setting up a charity.
Yeah.
Imagine getting terminated for setting up a charity because you didn't authorize it. I was just trying to help out.
What kind of charity is it? Is it a charity to bring back Republican leadership? Is it a charity to bring back Democratic leadership? It's just like what's an acceptable charity?
First, before anything happens, when you got to shut down.
Yeah. Use of technology resources to threaten, harass, or offend others. Attempting to gain or gaining unauthorized access to the network, any computer, or the files of another person. Some of this is pretty, you can see it. Undermining password security. No one should use a username, password of another. Well, I think I violated that. Nor should anyone provide his or her username and password to another except in cases necessary. Facilitate maintenance and repairs by computer center staff. This should say no one should use a username and password of another without their consent.
Yeah, that's a good because sometimes some of my friends down the dorms, they call me to help them set up their electronics, and let's just say she had to go to mandatory dorm meeting. So
Yeah.
I'm like, since I don't want to use my password, since it's her dorm room, what's your password? Just write down your password on the back of your schedule. That way you keep it.
Right.
And I don't know what a password is now, but still didn't work.
See, I've gotten to the point where I cannot figure an issue out, and I'll say, well, send me your username and password, and I'll sign in as you and see if I can see what's going on. And I've just violated that policy, haven't I? Willful misrepresentation of yourself as another person in any electronic communication. I haven't done that at Cali, but I've done that before.
Is this recording right now?
Yeah. Could be. I don't.
What does that mean?
I was playing with my wife, and I changed who the email was coming from. So she thought I forget who it was even put down there, but she came in. Look, I just got an email from. I'm sitting there roaring, laughing, and I was trying to make a point with her. Don't trust, who the from says, because you can get it to say whoever you want.
I forgot about you.
Nobody's ever done that to your loved one or friend or.
No, I never have.
Really?
Oh, I need to. That's funny.
I guess willful misrepresentation. That's where you're trying to do something, not messing with your wife, but.
It's like taking your friend's phone and sending it inappropriate to his boyfriend.
Oh, willful, yeah.
Even though your friend's right there.
Let's see. Distributing unsolicited mass mailings. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yes, you have. He's meant to it before.
No, mass mailings like since you're a computer science, that's why I could send you that email. This is more if I'm spamming. Like I'm running my own little business and I'm spamming him, telling him to buy David's hacking device.
Yeah,
Chain letters, electronic chain letters. So, I bet some people have done that though, haven't they? How many people on Facebook have posted those out there? Like repost this like 10 times or.
Oh yeah.
I immediately go report.
Is that electronic chain letter?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's a,
Like you can usually tell someone's trying to scam me on Facebook because like you guys sit there for an request on second I go. I screenshot it, send it to one of the buddies to send to them.
let's see. They haven't broke any laws I know of violating.
It says or another college policy.
Or another college.
Hmm?
That is interesting.
So like.
Makes it sound like a different college, but I think they mean Cali College.
Oh, okay. I thought they were meaning like WSU. If you violate WSU's policy while you're here.
It could be. That might be what it meant. Violating libel, copyright, fair use, or trademark law while using technology resources. I think everybody's probably done that.
Yeah.
Probably every instructor at some points use something twice. They give you a fair use where you're supposed to be able to use it once, but not like continue to use it. Mm-hmm. Interesting. But anyway, we'll go ahead and stop there. We're out of time. We'll talk more about private sector next time. Hopefully we'll have get our book set up.
What's the next class?